Most people associate Africa's slave trade with European ships crossing the Atlantic. But what if I told you that centuries before the Portuguese arrived on Africa's west coast, enslaved Africans were already being taken across the Sahara Desert, the Red Sea, and the Indian Ocean? This is one of the longest-running slave trades in history. Yet it often receives far less public attention than the transatlantic slave trade. So what really happened? Let's find out. Hello, my name is Ifeoluwa Olateju, and welcome to the African Archive, where we uncover Africa's untold stories, challenge historical misconceptions, and bring the continent's rich past to life. Now, let's step back in time. To understand this story, we need to travel back to the 7th century AD. Following the rise and expansion of Islamic caliphates across North Africa and the Middle East, commercial networks grew rapidly. Merchants exchanged gold, salt, ivory, textiles, spices, and many other goods. Sadly, enslaved people also became part of these expanding trade networks. Over the centuries, these routes connected large parts of Africa with North Africa, Arabia, Persia, and regions of South Asia. Three major slave trading routes emerged. The first was the Trans-Saharan route. Camel caravans crossed the vast Sahara, transporting enslaved Africans to cities such as Cairo, Tripoli, Tunis, and other commercial centers. The second was the Red Sea route, linking the Horn of Africa with ports on the Arabian Peninsula. The third was the Indian Ocean route. Coastal cities like Zanzibar, Kilwa, and Mombasa became major trading hubs connecting East Africa with Arabia, Persia, and India. But who participated in this trade? The answer is more complicated than many people assume. Arab merchants organized many long-distance commercial networks. Swahili merchants along East Africa's coast acted as important commercial intermediaries. Some African rulers and kingdoms also captured and sold prisoners of war or people seized during raids in exchange for goods, weapons, or political alliances. This does not absolve any participant of responsibility. Rather, it reminds us that history is rarely simple. Political ambition, economic incentives, warfare, and expanding trade all shaped these events. The human cost was devastating. Across many centuries, millions of Africans were forced from their homes. Families were torn apart. Communities lost generations of their people. Many endured forced labor, military service, domestic servitude, or sexual exploitation in distant lands. Although the Arab slave trade differed from the later transatlantic slave trade in its geography, legal structures, and historical context, both shared a tragic reality. Human beings were reduced to commodities and denied their freedom. History becomes clearer when we study every chapter, not only the most familiar ones. The Arab slave trade reminds us that Africa's past is complex, interconnected, and often far more nuanced than popular narratives suggest. Understanding that complexity does not diminish the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. Instead, it gives us a fuller picture of the forces that shaped African history over more than 1,000 years. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the African Archive for more evidence-based stories that uncover Africa's forgotten history. I'm Ifeoluwa Olateju. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.